Want to spot a lie? According to Henrik Fexeus, our words, faces, and bodies can all betray us. Here's how to decode the truth. This is from the book The Art of Reading Minds by Henrik Fexeus. If you want to learn everything about reading minds, then you can get the book top of the description. This all comes under the chapter Be a Human Lie Detector. It says in the book the easiest way to lie is with our words, because that's what we've been practicing all our lives. We're a little less good at lying with our facial expressions, although we've had a bit of practice in this area too. But the thing we're worst at is lying with our bodies. So lies may sound convincing, but our body gives away the truth. So first, how the face lies. Facial control is deceptive. Liars focus on keeping their faces neutral, but micro-expressions give away true feelings. A false smile often stops at the mouth, while a genuine smile engages the entire face. So a tip would be, watch for fleeting expressions of fear, anger, or disgust that contrast with their words. Now this is a key part from the book. I'm going to read word for word and show you the images. When we try to control our facial expressions, we tend to only use the lower portion of our faces. We should know by now this means that the area around the eyes, eyebrows and forehead is free to display our true emotions, something we do unconsciously. For even when we make an effort to smile, the nose can wrinkle up in disgust over something. So this is a real smile on the left and a fake smile on the right. You see the difference? Fake expressions of joy are also often given away by bad timing. They're assembled a little too quickly. A genuine expression of joy can take some time to be completed, and a fake one will usually be displayed for too long. Next, the eyes. Too much or too little eye contact. So liars know that avoiding eye contact can make them seem suspicious, so they may actually overcompensate by staring too much. Rapid blinking or a tendency to look away can also signal discomfort. So a tip would be to observe whether their gaze feels overly intense or unnaturally fleeting. Now, another part from the book that's important. When somebody who is lying or under emotional pressure blinks, the eyes will often remain closed for longer than they do with somebody who is telling the truth. Now, here's a thing in the book called the EAC model. It means eye accessing cues. So the top left one, if someone's constructing an image, they will look to their top right. If someone's remembering an image, they will look to their top left. If someone's constructing a sound, they will look to their right. If they're remembering a sound, they will look to their left. If they're feeling and touching kinesthetic, then they'll look to their bottom right. Talking to yourself, neutral, looking to their bottom left. If someone tells you about something she claims to have done or experienced, but her eyes suddenly go to a place they usually go when she's being creative, this would indicate that she is constructing a thought. You will need to ask yourself if there is any reason for this person to be using her creativity and imagination in that context. For example, if she says, "I had to work late, and since I would have been late for dinner anyway, I grabbed a pizza and a beer with Josh. But then I came straight home," and you observe a construction occurring when she says, "I grabbed a pizza and a beer with Josh," it's time for caution. There is obviously some kind of problem with this claim. It could be that you are the victim of a straight-up lie. Maybe this is the reason for the cliché about liars being afraid of eye contact. According to those who put faith in the EAC model, the eyes are moved when a lie is constructed, which will make it difficult for the liar to retain eye contact, as that would require him to look straight ahead. On the other hand, telling somebody about a memory you have while looking straight ahead and maintaining eye contact will usually work, since the eye position allows for visualizing previous memories. Remember, the EAC model will only work as a lie detector if you can catch somebody in the act of constructing a lie as it is uttered. If somebody has had time to prepare for his lie, that is, construct it in advance, you may not see any difference since the lie has become a memory, even though its content is still imaginary. And finally, let me remind you again that this model isn't a general truth. There are plenty of exceptions to it, so before you make somebody sleep on the couch, make sure you can truly tell the difference in their practical behaviour between remembering and construction. So this is actually something, obviously it's a whole book, it's hard to give everything in a video that's short, but this might be something you need to buy the whole book for to be able to fully understand, because it just gives context, and there's like a whole thing in it where you have to work out if the other person is visual, auditory or kinesthetic, which then helps you work things out more, and you have to ask control questions to work out which they are. But now onto the hands. Hands can betray discomfort or deceit through small, involuntary movements. Examples include touching the face, rubbing the neck, fidgeting with objects. The most common lie-related hand gesture isn't scratching the nose, it's covering the mouth. This action may unconsciously attempt to stop the lie from coming out, or may reflect shame about the statement. Many hand-to-face movements, examples are scratching the nose, adjusting glasses, tugging the earlobe, might be subtle deflections of the mouth-covering gesture. These actions can signal doubt or discomfort, even when simply listening to someone else. But one isolated hand movement doesn't confirm deception. It might actually just be an itchy nose. But repeated gestures, or a combination of nervous actions, should prompt you to observe for other potential signs of lying or hidden emotions. Here's a bonus insight for observation. If someone covers their mouth while listening to you, they might doubt your honesty or be surprised by what you're saying. This could be a cue to clarify or reaffirm your truthfulness. Now on to the next one, the rest of the body. When a person's body language contradicts their words, trust the body over verbal claims. Here are examples of body incongruence. Shrinking posture. A person physically withdraws or slouches while making a bold statement. Subtle retreat. Slightly stepping back while denying something suggests discomfort or uncertainty. Tension hidden beneath. A shy girl at a speed dating session may appear calm but keeps one leg tightly wrapped around the other under the table, revealing underlying anxiety. A practical tip: focus on postures or movements that don't align with what the person is saying. These contradictions are often more reliable indicators of their true feelings. Now on to a thing called gestural slips. Fexeus provides an example. Someone might shrug slightly while saying, "I'm sure," undermining their own statement. So a tip would be pay attention to subtle, out-of-place movements like shoulder shrugs or head tilts that don't match their words. Changes in voice or tone of voice. Pitch and speed matter. A liar's voice often becomes higher pitched due to tension, and they may speak faster or slower than usual. Listen for vocal strain or sudden shifts in rhythm compared to their normal speaking pattern. Now onto a whole different part that's just as important: change in speech, changes in language, digressions and vagueness. Liars may ramble or give very complicated explanations that don't lead anywhere. Example: well, I guess you could say that. Well, I mean, it could be, yeah, I mean, sure. However, direct questions often receive unusually short answers. Lies are often repeated word for word without much detail, out of fear of contradiction, whereas truth-tellers often add or adjust details when retelling events because memories evolve. Lies struggle to provide new details if asked to elaborate, sometimes creating new lies on the spot. Example: I was on my own all night. I watched TV and then went to bed. Follow up: what did you watch? Response: let's see. Now a thing called smokescreens. Liars may hide behind impressive but empty words, abstractions, or unrelated statements. Example: I haven't committed a crime. What I did was fail to comply with the law. Responses are designed to sound logical, but often lack actual substance. Liars focus on denial rather than affirmations. So an example is they'd say, I am not a crook, instead of, I am an honest man. This shows their focus on what they're denying, not the truth. Depersonalization. Liars avoid personal pronouns like I or me to distance themselves from their story. They may overuse generalizations like always, never, everybody, or nobody. Example: that kind of thing never happens around here. Liars often describe things in past tense to distance themselves further. An example question: what are you doing? Liar's response: I wasn't doing anything. Truthful response: I'm not doing anything. Expressing reservations. Liars may begin with disclaimers to excuse an unbelievable statement. An example would be, listen, I know this sounds strange, but... This attempt to preempt doubt often raises suspicions further. Linguistic sophistications. Liars may suddenly speak more formally, avoiding slang or abbreviations they usually use. They focus on precise grammar and pronunciation as a way to compensate for the lack of truth. Example: instead of nah, that doesn't work, they might say. I feel that would be both regrettable and inappropriate. And lastly on this part, draw out words. Lies take time to formulate, so lies may stretch out words, use long pauses, or stutter. An example, yeah, it was like this. They may also switch between present and past tense as part of this distancing. Now on to changes in speech patterns, hesitations and fillers. Liars often use fillers like and ums to buy time while constructing their story. So look for pauses, self-corrections or repetition that seems out of place. Changes in vocal tone or speed. If ashamed or lying, speech may quicken, become higher pitched or louder. If feeling guilty or sad, the voice may become quieter, slower, and lower in tone. Unusual pauses. Look for longer or shorter pauses compared to their usual speech patterns. Watch for sudden pauses mid-sentence, especially where none would normally occur. And the big one is buying time. So liars may lengthen vowels, and while thinking of what to say, repeat the same phrases or use overly long sentences to dominate the conversation. And a big one, relay the question back to the speaker instead of answering immediately, because that then buys them time to think through in their mind what they're trying to make up. Changes in language, distance through words. Liars may avoid personal pronouns to distance themselves from their lies. Example, instead of saying, I didn't break it, they might say, it wasn't broken by anyone. Tip, notice overly formal language or vague statements. But be careful about your conclusions, because there's a thing called false positives. Signs like discomfort or nervousness don't always mean someone is lying. Stress, fear, or awkwardness can mimic the same signals as lying. These behaviours could also point to repressed emotions unrelated to the situation. Context matters. Interpreting signals or gestures without context can lead to mistakes. An example would be, if someone afraid of flying shows gestural slips, it doesn't mean they're lying unless you're discussing flying. Proceed cautiously. If someone feels off, avoid accusing them outright. Instead, offer a chance for them to clarify or expand on what they're saying. How to respond. Say something like, I feel like there's something else you haven't told me. Would you like to share more? Could you clarify what you mean? Maybe there's something you'd like to explain differently to help me understand better. So now you know how to spot the signs of deception, from facial expressions to body language and speech patterns. But remember, these clues are just guides, not guarantees. Pay attention, practice observing, and you'll get better at detecting lies. So now see what you notice in your next conversations. If you want to buy the book, then as I said, the link is top of the description. If you learnt something new, please like and subscribe to keep learning. If the next video on this book is out, then the playlist will be on screen now. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.